Bob Hannon here, and welcome to another episode of the Art of Physical Fitness show. Today I want to talk about complacency in your training and why you need to step outside of your comfort zone of what you usually do. So I'm just going to get right into it. My normal training schedule, how I've seen some of my better results as far as improving my squat and my deadlift and the other lifts have been in an 8 or 9 day training period where it just goes upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. Each upper body would be a bench, lower body would be squat, the next upper body would be military press, the next lower body would be deadlift, and that cycles on in. I'm still training 3 days a week on that type of a normal schedule. So that's my normal type of a training where I'm squatting and deadlifting, squatting or deadlifting only once every 8 to 9 days. So with that said, I recently changed it up, but I felt a need to I was getting kind of mundane and boring, but bored by the training approach. I just needed a change, and I also felt the need to really just go after it for a brief period of time. Green light it, if you will. Dan and John talked about these brief periods that you can have every once in a while. You just put balls to the wall, go after it, and train as hard as you can. Something that the majority of the other time of the year you would never do, would be stupid to do. But you do it at that time, like the velocity diet. If any of you are familiar with the velocity diet, a very short burst, very dedicated style of programming. So what I did is I wanted to get away from my bench and my military press. I've been in favor of gymnastics-based exercises and bodyweight exercises. So I've been doing a lot of dips and ring pull-ups and muscle-ups and handstand push-ups and things of that nature for my upper body. So with that said, I knew that I could make up for those type of exercises don't take much out of me as far as recovery is concerned. So I knew that I was going to have plenty of recovery left over where I could squat and deadlift more frequently. So what I've done is I am now I'm on my third week. This is the third and final week of it, and then I'll go on to for a week of rest until I test it out next Friday. I'm on my third week of squatting 3 times a week and deadlifting 3 times a week. And I squat. I'll start off with a session with squat. I'll follow it up with deadlifting, and then I'll go into my upper body gymnastics work or bodyweight work. So what have I learned from this? Stepping outside of my comfort zone, which is critically important, not just in your fitness. If you want to achieve the losing weight or gaining muscle or strength, then you've got to learn that you need to step outside of your comfort zone if you're ever going to achieve anything. You cannot lose weight if you continue. I mean, from a basic standpoint, people get the idea that if I want to lose weight, I got to clean up my diet. That's stepping out of your comfort zone. But you need to continue to take it a step further, another step forward, another step forward further until you achieve your goal. You can never just stay where you are, because if you do, you will remain where you are and you'll never achieve your goal. So always work to, which I've talked about before, expanding your circle of influence of things you can gather from and stepping outside of that comfort zone. So with that all said, I just wanted to briefly go up why this is beneficial. And one, it actually helps you progress, obviously, but also there's a lot of lessons that can be learned if the step forward, you took a step in the wrong direction. By doing that, it doesn't matter that it didn't ultimately help you to your goal in a direct sense. Like this session, I don't see how it won it, but if this 3 times a week squatting, it ultimately doesn't lead to me having a higher squat rate level. I don't take that as a failure, because at the end of the day, there's still some lessons that I've learned from this experience that are going to help carry me over to more appropriately attacking my squat. With that said, I still feel like it's going to have a pretty good transfer over to my raising up my squat and deadlift numbers. But with that said, these are the lessons I've learned. Number one is I need to include more work on my hips. This 3 times a week work has tightened. 3 times a week squatting has certainly tightened up and shown some tightnesses and mobility deficits in my left hip. I've dealt with a little discomfort and a little pain, but just not feeling right in my left hip. So I'm needing to include more hip work, especially on a 3 times a week squatting program. But just going forward, I'm going to need to incorporate more things for mobility and flexibility in my hip. The second lesson I've learned is I've already known about it, and I've already consciously think about it, but really ingraining it in your squat technique for me and my deadlift is the proper application of tension at the right time. Obviously, I already know about tension. I already know its benefits. I talked about it for Kent Whaley, but it wasn't fully. My body hadn't able to, under heavy load, without me thinking about it, fully incorporate it and dual lift. And I feel like I'm achieving that now. I'm staying much tighter throughout the whole lift, and I'm properly using that little burst of air and a sticking point to burst myself through that sticking point. So I've learned a proper application of technique, which will definitely carry over when I go back to where I've seen the normal training program. The third thing that I've seen is that the more squatting I've done, the less knee pain I've had. I've had patella tendonitis in my left knee for quite some time, stemming back from when I had originally, before I got so much into training as I am now, I had injured my back and was doing a lot of things for lifting, trying to strengthen my lower body, but I was overcompensating a lot with my left leg, I believe, and ended up getting some tendonitis. And since I've been squatting 3 times a week, my knee pain has been virtually non-existent. So that's something to be said. That's something I've learned, that more squatting for me allows my knees to feel and function better. And then finally is that this program, obviously, I'm not maxing out. You cannot max out 3 times a week and expect to make it very long. So what I've learned is that when my recovery for each session hasn't been up to par and I haven't had it, submaximal training is an awesome tool to have in your toolbox for allowing you to get quality work in even when you don't have it. So be sure to include submaximal training. Now, yes, leaving 1 or 2 reps in the tank is great, but I prefer to take it even a step further sometimes, like this program is where I have plenty left in the tank. The weights are still heavy. I'm still working, but it's more like 3 or 4 or 5 reps are still left in the tank. That said, they're still tough reps, but I have more than just 1 or 2 left. So submaximal training is extremely beneficial in getting in quality work to develop strength, develop technique, and develop tension application, and for me, improve my state of my knees, if you will. So that's what I've learned from this squatting 3 times a week and deadlifting 3 times a week. But at the end of the day, again, like I said, if when I test a week from this Friday and my numbers aren't any better, it'll be a little disappointing. But at the end of the day, I won't view it as a failure because I learned so much that I know is going to apply to my training forthcoming. And I would never have learned these lessons if I didn't decide to step outside of my comfort zone and start squatting and deadlifting 3 times a week. I'm not saying you need to squat and deadlift 3 times a week. What I'm saying is the message I'm trying to spread here, that you should know, it should be common sense, but maybe you need that gut check today because you had something on your plate right now that you're kind of reluctant to do, you're scared to do, and I'm hoping that this just helps one person out there even that will kind of wake them up, realize, you know what, I'm being scared, I'm being complacent, I need to take a chance, step outside my comfort zone, and at that point, only at that point where I'll be able to achieve anything I want and achieve the goal that I'm going after. So, again, this is Kyle with the artofphysicalfitness.com and the Art of Physical Fitness Show. I thank you once again for stopping by and checking it out. And until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye.